my daughter wants a dog, by the way.
Ugh. Mm.
I told her she's barking mad. Welcome to a different corner, a fantasy football podcast. My name's Manish Verma. I'm joined by, as always, Dr Luman Ali. And this is a podcast where has a weird George Michael theme and a fantasy football focus. And it's basically two dads grumbling from game week to game week about their game week scores. We don't necessarily have too much to grumble about so far, Luman, but we'll get into all of that. How are you, first of all?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Liverpool won, which is always a good thing. I had a decent points haul, which we'll get into. But yeah, when the weather turns and it gets a bit cold, gets a bit chilly, there's certain things you need to keep you warm and make you happy. So it was a good weekend. So yeah,
And a
lots.
certain player from West London did that for you, but we'll get into that, I suppose, in a sec. I do feel like I was trying to think of an analogy for this game week, and I just thought we've not yet talked about what your points haul was. But before we get to you, let me go to mine, because the game week hasn't yet finished, and I've still got two players to play. In fact, it's my two transfers in this week. I took out Anthony Robinson at Fulham, and I put in a player I've never even heard of before, Milos Kerkez at Bournemouth. And I took out, who did I take out for? Oh, I took out Minte for Anthony and Antoine Semenyo at Bournemouth. So I've still got two players to play. I'm on 55 points for the game week of an average of 47. And I've got to say, whilst I'm very pleased, considering, I got a lot of points on the who hit for me. Kanate got points for me, a goal. Salah delivered finally again. Diego Jota come back who's given me all sorts of Liverpool issues. Havertz scores, Watkins scores and assists, Jackson assists. So actually, I'm feeling pretty good. But there's one thing has really peed me off, Lumen. I was going into Sunday thinking, I was on 57 points. I was like, hang on, why has it gone down to 55 after the Man U Spurs game? And then I had a look. Bukayo Saka's bonus points, which, to be fair, I'm not sure why he got bonus points anyway, but he got given 3 bonus points. He was my captain, and so I ended up with like 10. And now I'm on a measly 6. So he only got the 3 points doubled and as a captain. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I've never seen that happen before. It's crazy. But when I looked at the transfers that you did, I had to do a double take. I'm like, this guy's playing 4D chess with us, because the obvious move was to bring Luis Diaz in. Obvious move, right? And there you go, like flipping the script. What's your thinking? I mean, you're ready for carnage this evening, aren't you?
I was thinking Southampton probably, I would say, been the poorest team this season. Palace maybe down there with them, really. Everton haven't had a good start, but I don't think Southampton are strong. And I've liked Semenyo all season, and I was thinking they're due a win as well. And they're at home, and so I thought it was between him, it was between Mbuemo, and also Diaz was in my thinking. I was really, really leaning towards Mbuemo, but I thought, you know what? Let's go difference. Let's go Semenyo. And then with 2 minutes to go, I even put in a Bournemouth defender because I don't like Fulham's upcoming fixtures, and I had Anthony Robinson in. So I thought, you know what? Can I see Southampton scoring? I'm not sure if I can, so I'm going to put in a double ball, and that was literally like 2 minutes before the deadline. I did that, so it was a bit of one was really considered, and one was a bit of a spur of the moment, really.
The crazy thing is, you've done really well without Haaland. I'm gonna tell you now that you're hitting an average of 62 points a week so far. Apart from maybe 1 week, every week you've gone above the average. Without Haaland, you've got to be pleased, right?
Yes, I think I have to be. Well, this was a game week where, as well, Haaland finally blanked. And so I thought I was going to, you know, that Ronaldinho gif or
Mm.
meme where he's there in his AC Milan shirt
Yeah,
at the anthem stage. He's got gloves on, he's got his
yeah, yeah.
headband on, and he's licking his lips. Newcastle, Man City went ahead. He blanked, and Man City dropped points. And I'm that Ronaldinho meme. I'm like licking my lips in the cold, fresh air, thinking, come on, this is the weekend where finally not having Haaland is going to pay off. And a little bit drab, really. Yeah, all of my players really scored who I wanted to. Havertz, Watkins, Jackson got an assist, fine. But it wasn't as big. That was the thing. And I suppose not having Haaland in all this time, I was waiting for a game week like this.
Hmm.
And I don't think I really capitalized, even though my players scored. And I can't really make sense of it. But someone I know hasn't got Haaland and really did capitalize. Luman, you feasted. You went to the buffet and you got everything. You didn't leave a crumb on, on the plate. Tell us, Luman, what did you do this weekend that meant that you got your first? Well, you tell us your score.
I've got 107 points this week, which is way more than most teams. In fact,
Yeah.
right now for this game week, I'm 6,457 for
Wow.
this game week.
Wow.
The 2 points are going to come off my bench. So who didn't do it for me? Raya, I mean, shocker, absolute shocker.
Mm.
Arsenal, you'd expect them to keep a clean sheet at home to Leicester, and they conceded
Mm.
two. So that was crazy. Um,
Yeah.
I put Jarrell Quansah in more as a joke than anything else every week, just in case he plays, but he didn't. So Mikalenko is going to come off the bench and give me 2 points. Pau
Wow.
Torres, a horrific signing. I mean, how can you rely on Villa defenders to keep clean sheets? So that didn't work out. Smith Rowe had an off day. He got 3 points. Now, before going into the rest of the team, I'll tell you what was big for me this week was the
Mm.
transfers that I did. So this is the
Mm.
week I went big on my transfers.
Yeah.
And I bought in 4 players, for which I incurred a -4. Of those
Mm-hmm.
4 players, 2 of them are guys that I wanted to get in to start for me every week, which is Saka and Havertz.
Yeah.
And the other 2 players are players I got in to make financially to squeeze Saka and Havertz. So I got Raul Jimenez and Fabianski in, so that doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Now they talk about swings and roundabouts, right? If I hadn't made those transfers, I would have ended up on more points because Saka got me 3 points.
Yeah.
But if I'd stuck with Jota, that was 8. He got 8 points, right? And Havertz and Solanke were the same, right? So
Fine.
I would have got more points because I wouldn't incurred the -4, right? But who got me points? Watkins got me 11 points, which
Yeah.
I was happy with, a goal and an assist. And Buemo, I mean, 5 goals in 6 games. I'm happy, and I've had him in from the start.
Yeah.
Mickey van der Ven, an assist, a
Wow.
clean sheet, and a couple of bonus points.
Wow.
So, the thing about Mickey van der Ven is he's a funny old guy. 6 games this week. He's played 5 out of 6 games this season. He's had returns of 2, 1, and 1 and 1, but then in the others he's at 9 and 11. So when he goes off big time.
Yeah.
Then Mo Salah got me 10 points. Mo Salah, funnily enough, the goal he scored was a penalty. He got 3 bonus points, but he was horrific.
Oh,
He
really?
was terrible. You watch him again, he missed sitters, he missed easy passes. Mo Salah is definitely on the chopping block for me. The reason why I got such a high points total was because I took the decision to captain Cole Palmer.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I was out and about shopping with the family.
Yeah.
I saw that he scored the first goal. Then I saw the penalty, but then I didn't check up. And then when I saw that he scored four, I was very much happy. Now, the thing about Cole Palmer was this week, it was a no brainer for me because he's at
Mm.
home. And Cole Palmer, I'm expecting him to do something, right? And
Yeah.
also, Brighton haven't been great. I was gobsmacked to see that the majority of teams either don't have Cole Palmer or didn't, some did. Captaincy is slightly different, but um,
Yeah.
yeah, so Cole Palmer, 50 points. It's allowed me to really climb up. Worldwide,
It is.
I've climbed up from 3.8 million to 530,000. I've climbed up in all the
Wow.
leagues. And the thing is, the reason why I'm happy is because I'm at the position I'm in now
Yeah.
without Haaland, with some dud defenders, horrific defenders, with bad few weeks up top.
Yeah.
So I've made mistakes and a whole load of them, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still in a decent position, and I've still got my wild card in my pocket, so I'm happy.
This is one of them game weeks. I don't think it happens very often at all. Obviously, 4 goal
Yep.
haul captaining that player, that very, 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 very rarely happens. But it very rarely happens that you're able to do one game week where, I mean, you have like teams scoring 100, that's fine. But you very rarely have you scoring over 100 and almost all of your rivals are 30, 40, 50 points
Yep.
behind you. And it's a game week which you've managed to have where you've just basically restarted your season almost,
Pretty
right?
much.
You're not having a good season, and this has given you basically like an injection into your season where you've won the lottery and you're up there with the millionaires now. Again, you were down here with us paupers, and all of a sudden you've just gone stratospheric again,
The,
and it's like doesn't. I don't even remember it ever happening to me. I once captained Andrei Arshav in 4 goal haul against in
yeah.
the Anfield game, but I don't remember it just climbing me up like as dramatically as it has
Yeah.
done for you.
It's crazy. The thing is, look, I wasn't having a good season, but it wasn't terrible. I was having a very
Mm,
similar season to you. You know,
yeah,
we're above average every week, but not having Haaland has killed us, right? Um,
yeah,
but yeah, it's gonna be interesting now because let's be honest, everybody's gonna get Palmer in now. I mean, my Palmer advantage is gone now. I mean, my
yes,
Palmer advantage is gone now. But it raises some interesting questions, right? It
mm,
raises some interesting questions.
yeah,
But I want to revisit again because I'm keen to know if your opinion has shifted at all. So the main question we had previously is, would you have Palmer? Would you have Saka? And you were very
mm,
decisive and saying Saka's my star boy, right?
yeah.
Has your position changed at all?
It has changed because, and does it change of one game week? Is that too fickle?
Yeah,
Probably is. The thing with Bukayo Saka is he returns every game week, but he's only had, and I think this is where you have to balance out, right? What sort of FPL manager are you? Are you a complete feast or famine? I'm going big or I'm going home, or do you want to tick along with consistent points? Now it depends which one of those camps you're in. If you're in the I want to tick along with consistent points, then Bukayo Saka has to be your guy. But he's only had one double-digit haul this season at the very first game of the season. After that, assist after assist after assist, then blanks finally. So not a good game week for him. He's on 38 points in total. Whereas if you put a little bit more money in, and he's also gone up to 10.7, Cole Palmer has, he, blanks, then massive haul, then blanks, then blanks, and then a huge haul again. It's where, if it's what your team needs, I think. If you need big numbers, then I think you go Cole Palmer. But and then you've just got to live with those days where he just does twos and threes.
Well,
But if your team needs consistency, then you go Bukayo Saka.
well, let me throw something at you based on what you've said. Right. Couple of things to know. Firstly, Haaland, 65 points, right?
Mm,
Cole Palmer's got 61.
yeah.
Secondly, you talk about go big or, hit and miss, whatever. In 6 games this season, Cole Palmer's only blanked in 2 games where he's got 2 points and 3 points, right?
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
Saka, he's also blanked in 2 games. So they're identical.
Mm,
So when we had this discussion previously with Palmer or
mm,
Saka, it wasn't even a thing for me, right?
mm,
Palmer, based on what he did last season, 22 goals, 13 assists, and based on what he did in the Euros, it was like a no-brainer for me to
mm.
build my team. Palmer was a building block for me. Even if he didn't score 25 goals, I could easily have seen him score at least 10.
Yeah.
He's that kind of player. So that's
Yeah.
the second thing. The third thing to note, you talk about Saka's consistency, right? In points order, Palmer's on 61, Salah's on 59, Diaz is on 53, and Buemo's on 43, McNeil's on 39, Saka's on 38. He's the sixth
Mm,
highest, so he's 10 million quid.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
the craziness in all of this is I've incurred minus points to get him in. So, I've got Saka and Palmer at the moment. So,
Yeah.
for now, I think we're in agreement that Palmer is definitely over Saka.
Yeah.
Even though I
If
had that position always, because Saka's never going to
yeah,
score that many goals. He had that
absolutely.
freakish season before last, along with Odegaard and Martinelli. But that was a
Yeah.
freak season because none of those guys are hitting those numbers again. But it's interesting because do you see Palmer as the new Son because you think he's feast or famine?
I do see him as that. But you've made a very, very good point on Cole Palmer. He has only blanked in 2 games this
Yeah,
game week. I'm just looking at it now, and then I'm comparing like a 6 to a 25 and thinking a 6 is a blank, but he got an assist that game. Like fair. That what can you do?
he
6 goals, 4 assists this season.
he's definitely not the new Son for me. He's the new Mo Salah. He
Wow.
is the new Mo Salah. Haaland, his price is so prohibitive. It's so prohibitive
Mm,
that Cole Palmer's price will go up next year to 12, 13 easily, right? Easily. I'm going to have him
mm,
as my first name on the sheet. The
wow.
guy is incredible. He
Mm,
is the new Salah. I didn't think we'd see another Salah,
yeah.
but I've seen enough. I've seen enough. Even before this weekend. If you take
Mm,
this weekend out of the equation, right? He's still got a couple of goals and 4 assists, right?
yeah.
He's there. So
He's there.
Cole
He's there. And
Palmer,
this weekend was a that the 4 goals, just classic. This whole spectrum of Cole Palmer, right? That free kick, holy moly, that free kick was unbelievable.
yeah.
But yeah, Cole Palmer,
It's the
you were right all
confidence.
along.
It's the
You were right
confidence.
all along.
It's the
Yeah,
confidence.
yeah,
But yeah, I mentioned just now that Saka, Odegaard, and Martinelli, season before last, they both all scored 15 goals each. They're not gonna
yeah.
have that kind of season again, right? Or
Mm,
am I wrong on Martinelli? Because the reason I asked the question is, right, one of the guys in our league who's flying high, Jimmy, this guy is like crazy. Yeah. He's getting in Luis Diaz when everyone else is getting Jota, right? And
yeah.
he's getting in Martinelli when no one else is getting Martinelli. What did he see that the rest of us haven't? And he's a Liverpool fan, you're an Arsenal fan. Why
Yeah.
did he hit on Martinelli and you didn't? Talk me through it. I want to know.
I think he's been sharp here. So Arsenal have got injury problems with Odegaard out. That means Trossard is playing where Odegaard is playing. That means that Martinelli is now playing where Trossard is playing. So he now sees Martinelli getting a start finally. So finally, at least 90, maybe 90 minutes, maybe 60, 70 minutes. So he's playing on that. So that's a good scout, firstly, there. Secondly, I think, to be honest with you, as an Arsenal fan, Martinelli has not looked good in front of goal. He has not looked, he's had chances and he's just been putting it wide over a lot. And Arsenal fans have been concerned about his form in front of goal. So it's a bit of a punt. And I asked Jimmy this, I saw him at the weekend. I was like, why Martinelli? And he goes, it was my differential. And he just went with that one. He's like, I'm going with it because no one else has got him. And
Is he having one of those seasons where everything he touches turns to gold? Is he just
at
having
the minute.
yeah.
At the minute, yeah. Martinelli got 13 points this goal and assist this weekend. He's at 3.1% ownership. Who does that? Well, Jimmy did it this weekend, and yeah, maybe everything. It's been with Luis Diaz. It's now Martinelli. He's just got them players just at the right time,
Yeah.
and that is it, isn't it? With FPL, you just have to, and you would probably evidence of this weekend. You got your captain right. If you didn't get your captain right, you're there with the rest of us at about high 50s. But you got your captain right. You
No,
just
no, no,
got
no,
the
no.
thing.
Slightly more, slightly more, slightly more. Because
No.
25 points. If you knock off 25, I've got 80 points. So it's still a
Oh,
decent amount.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, no, yeah, you're right.
But Martinelli is not the only player we slept on because Everton have had such a bad season. Each week that we talk about Everton, we just say Calvert-Lewin and that's it. But we slept on Dwight McNeil. He got 2 goals.
Yeah.
That out of 6 games this season, he's had 3 returns of 6, 12, and 15. He's one of the top 5 scoring midfielders, and he's only £5.5 million.
How
Did
have
we
we
miss
missed
out on
him?
him? Yep.
How have we? Because Everton have been so bad, we've just been laughing at Everton's results. But even against Aston Villa, when they were up 2-0, he got 12 points. The one before that, Bournemouth, I think they were up 2-0 there. They lost 3-2. He got an assist in that game, and now he bags. I don't know what it is. I still am not enamored by a Dwight McNeil. They haven't been good, Everton, but they finally got a win. Is this the turning point for them? He's a very good player. He is a good player. I've seen him a few times, and he does like a long range shot. He is good in front of
Yeah.
goal. It's just whether Everton are good enough to have. Would you want any Everton players in? I don't know. I'm not sure.
100% you need to consider him, and I'll tell you why that is.
Go on.
If you're looking to get Haaland in, you're going to have to take a massive hit elsewhere in the team.
Yeah.
McNeil is the type of player you need to consider as someone who's going to play and who, if he's got a decent fixture, you're going to play him. So within the Haaland context, if you don't have Haaland in and you're looking to get him in and you need to make a few sacrifices, you
Yeah.
won't need to consider him.
Yeah, and Everton's fixture. Everton got Newcastle next, but after that, they've got a whole block of green fixtures, according to the fixture difficulty rating. Ipswich, Fulham, Southampton, West Ham, Brentford. They've all got greens next to them, but I just don't trust Everton.
Yeah.
But you're right, he does start, and he is arguably their star player. We have slept on Dwight McNeil.
Another player you might need to consider if you want to get Haaland in is Raul Jimenez, because we've spoken about budget strikers and we mentioned Chris Wood, but he's 6.1. Raul Jimenez, this is also an interesting one because when I transferred him in, it was to, budgetary reasons, right? But he was 5.4, but during the week he went up to 5.5. He's had 3 games on the bounce of scoring, and in 2 of those games, he's had the maximum bonus points.
Yeah,
So,
look at that. Are we seeing Wolves' Raul Jimenez? Is he back
yeah,
after that
poor guy
horrible
had a
injury?
horrific head injury, and it's taken him ages to recover. Let's see. But for me, it's a great differential, also for budgetary reasons, getting him in. But I've got to talk about Dominic Solanke here as well, because I kept the faith with him, and then he finally scored, and I transferred him out, and he scores again. So if there is one tip that I will give to everyone is Dominic Solanke. Get him in; he'll sort you out. But
You're trying to sabotage everyone else's teams here. I know he's 2-2, but Lumen, you were spitting blood at Dominic Solanke this season.
yeah, but he's had injuries and everything else, so we'll let him off. But
Yeah.
I mean, we talk every look. We cannot get away from Haaland. The guy, his numbers demand attention. His personality demands attention, right?
Mm,
The nature of FPL means he demands attention with the amount of teams that have got him in. This is the only show you'll listen to where the two guys presenting don't have him in. And
yeah.
we're talking about both of us getting him in, right? Is it time yet for you to get him in or not?
Yeah, I think it is going to be. I say that all three of my strikers returned this weekend and Haaland didn't, but is that enough? Probably not. The issue is actually is blooming. I didn't realize there was an international break in
There is, yep,
October.
unfortunately.
So I how can I realistically do a wild card in for the next week, but the following week they're going off for 2 weeks and there's no FPL. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What do
The
you think? Is it too risky?
100%. You don't know what injuries are going to crop up in the international break, so I would never take that risk. But also, it's fascinating because your forward line has done it. Your forward line has done it this season. You're in a weird position. In fact, both of us are in weird positions, right?
Hmm.
Because leaving the Cole Palmer absurd performance to one side, we've not done too badly.
Hmm.
We've done well without having Haaland. The only difference in our mini leagues between us and everybody else is they've got Haaland and we don't, right? And in
Yeah.
fact, the only reason why we're still up there is because we've got loads of players that have done it, whereas the majority of Haaland teams, if you look beyond Haaland, they're not getting many other points. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too disheartened with that. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you who is disheartened. Cousin Vinay.
Cousin Vinny, we've got a new recording, Lumen. We've got a new
Oh
recording.
my
We sent
God.
in a voice note. Let's see if we can get Cousin Vinny. Here we go.
Hey Manish, it's your cousin Vinay from Wavington in Leicester, not your cousin Vinay from Slough. I'm just walking off to my job as a technical consultant in Santander, getting that day rate, baby. But from day rate, I want to talk about daylight robbery. Daylight robbery. The United fans like me, are getting robbed in the daytime for having to watch that absolute pile of crap last night. I am being robbed of my time on this world watching that shit, man. Like United at home to Spurs. They just let Mickey Wonder when just run right through. They're running. He's running right through the whole pitch, man. No one putting challenge in. I can't. They used to say, lads, it's Spurs. I think they're now saying, lads, it's United, because this is shit.
There you go.
Did you watch the game?
I did watch. I did watch the game. Yes, it was really bad. Spurs basically were walking through them. Then Bruno Fernandes gets sent off. I actually think I have a bit of sympathy for him. I don't think it was necessarily a sending off. And then the second half, a lot of Arsenal fans were being criticised for doing that whole low block. You're not going to get through against Man City against 10 men, and Man U basically tried to play and then got battered 3-0. So I kind of feel like, well, this is what happens. This is what happens when you open up. And yeah, they were just not, before the sending off, they were
Yeah.
not good. It was really not good for
I
United.
think when we've spoken about United, we haven't spoken about any of their attacking players because
Yeah.
they've not been good. It's just the defensive players. It's just, I think, I still stand by what I said. I'd still consider United defenders because they keep clean sheets it's weird. United are a weird team. You could look at their end of season table, 38 games, right? And they've conceded 100 goals, right? But then you look at how many clean sheets and they've got like 20 clean sheets. It's because they're either very tight or very leaky. So
Yeah.
it is just, if you're talking about feast or famine, bloody hell,
Yeah.
those defenders are feast or famine. Now, we were guilty like everyone else of looking at this new Brighton team under this new manager. First couple of games, they were brilliant. I mean, Mitoma, Minte bombing it down the wing, and then they're
Yeah.
just playing horribly at the moment. I mean, so stay clear of Brighton at all costs. But who else are you steering clear of?
There are at the start of the season, I was thinking the three promoted teams, I don't really want to touch them: Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton. That's probably not changed too much. I might dabble in a Jamie Vardy possibly. Leicester, I've got to give credit to. I think they're a lot more resilient than we hoped, and I think they actually have got a chance of staying up this season. Ipswich, you might want to get, Delap got 2 goals this weekend. That's not a bad shout if you're trying to shoehorn in other more expensive players. Southampton, I still probably wouldn't touch, but there are other teams who I think are in trouble at the minute. Crystal Palace, like what is happening there? Like there was a lot of hope. I know it's the Elise factor. Is it that big a issue for them?
For me, it is. I mean, you have the chemistry between Elise, Eze, and Mateta, especially end of last season. It was electric. They were very much on the front foot. It got the opposition thinking, that's gone.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a while for them to get that back. The other team that I would think about is West Ham, because West Ham have been absolutely awful. They're guys that you would normally consider Bowen and Kudus. They're not performing, and I'm so glad I didn't make the mistake of putting Bowen in this time. It's just not happening with their manager. He's a top manager. They've spent a lot of money. So, West Ham, definitely another one to stay clear of. Wolves
and Brighton. You did mention Brighton.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of them going forward. I like João Pedro, Danny Welbeck, Mitoma, but definitely not going backwards. Definitely not. They're just concede, man. And the only reason they probably even scored this weekend was because Sanchez started becoming Superman in the Chelsea goal. I don't know what he was doing for them 2 goals. Brighton again. I don't know. Do we now avoid the Brighton, West Ham, Palace assets? I am certainly, after being so hot on Brighton, I've gone very, very cold on them.
But we've got another interesting week of fixtures ahead.
Shall we run through them?
Yep.
Crystal Palace, Liverpool. Why don't you take this one, being the Liverpool fan?
Banana skin for us. We didn't play well against Wolves. It's a 12:30 kickoff. I know it sounds like I'm downplaying things and it looks amazing. We're top of the table, etc. Right? But we've got issues, and we're gonna do the rest of the league is going to find out what Liverpool are about after this international break, because we've got a tough run of fixtures firstly, and we're never good after an international break. So and the other thing is Mo Salah's not firing. So I would not be surprised if we drop points in this game, because Palace are desperate. We've got a midweek game and we're not playing particularly well as well. So I reckon that's a draw.
Liverpool are giving me some selection issues. I got to be honest with you. I was going to go all in on Diaz. I'm glad I avoided him for this game week. I was going very cold on Jota, and then he returns this game week. Mo is Mo. So how can you have him? Can you not have him? Should you, is he finally running out of steam? Trent is there. I get it's very difficult with Liverpool assets for me at the minute.
Yeah, but Konate is not so difficult. But
that one's been a good one for me. Konate.
For God's sake, Arsenal against Southampton. It has to be carnage. It has to be carnage. They have to repay my faith in getting Saka and Havertz in. Surely.
You know what? It would have been carnage against the Foxes, against Leicester, if it wasn't for this goalkeeper having the absolute game of his life. We conceded 2 goals. One was a deflection off a cross. It hit the back of Havertz and went in, kind of wrong-footed Raya. And then the other one was a worldie. Like, it
Yeah.
was a superb strike. Do we
But
concede again? I mean, I was furious when we went 2-0 to 2-2. I was so angry. But luckily, in the last few minutes, we got it back. You would think it'd be interesting. Maybe let's see what Bournemouth Southampton like. I'm going to be interested to see how Southampton perform. They've got to surely turn it round. Maybe they'll put up a stiffer test. But I'm going to go. I'm confident with Arsenal at home as
yeah,
well.
easy.
So I'm going Arsenal. Yeah.
Brentford Wolves. Brentford, crazy. 3 games in a row, they've scored within the first 40 seconds. That's mad. But they've not been getting the desired results. And Wolves, they're bottom, but they've had a tough run of fixtures. I think Gary O'Neill turns it around. I think this is a draw, but I've only got an interest in Brian Mbeumo. I mean, I hope he continues his rich reign of form.
Yeah, Brian's been doing it for Brentford. I'm with you on that one. I think it's a draw as well.
Yeah.
As much as I really want Wolves to get out of this hole they're in, you would have thought eventually they would, but it's not looking good for them.
Yeah.
Leicester, Bournemouth.
I think Bournemouth are gonna hammer Leicester 6-0. I think Semenyo gets a hat trick and Milos Kerkez gets a hat trick in that game.
Wow. Can I just tell you, Bournemouth, whilst we've been fairly okay on them, have only won 1 game all season. They've drawn.
Why do you bring 2 Bournemouth players in?
Because of Southampton and Leicester games.
There you go.
Let's move on. What's the next one?
Man City, Fulham.
Oh, so this is the problem now, Lumen. I was talking about wild card, and the reason why I need to do it is to shoehorn in Erling Haaland, and this is the kind of game I want to do it for. I say that Fulham have been very, very good this season, but I can't see anything other than a Man City trouncing here.
Okay,
Of Fulham.
let's take it back now. So, I was talking on a previous show, I think it was last week, about the classic Arsenal Man United game. I see parallels between this season and season 97-98. In season 97-98, Arsenal won the league. They had a fantastic team. But Man United suffered a knee ligament injury to Roy Keane, took him out for the whole season. And I think that was absolutely decisive in Arsenal winning the league. And I think history might repeat itself with the injury of Rodri.
Wow. Do you not think Man City are so good that they can work around Rodri?
Put it this way, right? United, they won the league in 93, 94. They missed out in 95, right? They missed out on goal difference or whatever, right? Then they won in 96, 97, right? They missed out in 98. Then they won 3 on the bounce, right? So that's 7, right? So they could have won 10 on the bounce, but if it wasn't for a few points here and there. That's the level of dominance United were at in the 90s, right? Similar to City. But what it took, you got to remember, right? That Man United team without Roy Keane, just like this Man City team, had an incredible squad, right? They still had loads of exceptional players. But Keane was the guy. Keane was the heart and the soul. And I think Rodri will be missed in a similar way. So I think fixtures that previously appeared straightforward, like this Fulham game, they're not going to be.
And it would be just like like maybe those Arsenal boys repay the Arsenal faith that they had in him. Emil Smith Rowe, Alex Iwobi, Reece Nelson. Come on, fellas. Come on, cottagers. West Ham Ipswich. We've talked about how bad West Ham have been, but surely they're at home against Ipswich. Bowen show, no?
Yeah, but I've said to you before that of all the promoted teams, Ipswich, because what I saw in that first week, and they got a draw against Villa, and they should have won,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Ipswich took points off West Ham. The
Mm.
next one is interesting. Everton,
Yeah, that's a
Newcastle.
tasty one. Everton, Newcastle, that is a tasty one. You know what? I bet you Everton win that game and do two on the bounce, and all of a sudden there's a good feeling on the blue side of Merseyside again.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to Isak. Is he fit again? I know he's not been scoring points, but he's got a toe injury. He didn't play at the weekend. Yeah, but Anthony Gordon might be back again, so might be back in form again after a goal at the weekend. I'm going with Everton on that one. Villa, Man United.
um, Villa, Man United. I think my prediction is Villa win that, and Ten Hag gets sacked.
Oh, finally!
I think he gets sacked. I think this is the game where Villa win and Ten Hag gets sacked. But
I think of all the games to sack him after, Villa away would be really harsh because Villa are a good team, and
yeah,
going to Villa Park is really...
yeah, but the new owners are expecting them to hit this level, um,
Yeah.
and also it's before an international break, so that'll give them time to
Yeah.
get
And
someone
Ollie
in.
Watkins, we shouldn't mention Ollie Watkins. Now that's 4 game weeks on the bounce where he's returned an assist, then 2 goals, a goal, a goal. So he is quietly just warming up there, isn't he? Now he's back at his £9 million mark as well. By the way,
Yeah, but
he's
I
at
still
just
haven't
under
forgiven him
30%.
for that Arsenal performance. So let's
Yeah, I
move on
know.
from that
I know.
debacle.
Next one is interesting. Chelsea Forest. I mean, if you haven't got Cole Palmer, you're probably getting Cole Palmer in. Can I just offer just a differential at Chelsea, by the way? Or maybe a differential. We've not talked about him at all on this show, but Jadon Sancho has now got 9 points at the weekend. He's returned in 3. He's returned in 3 game weeks running. He doesn't play as many minutes as you'd like, but I think Jadon Sancho might be doing some bits at Chelsea we've just not noticed.
He is, but if we're not talking about Cole Palmer, there's only one player we're talking about for Chelsea, and that's Nicholas Jackson. I've got a prediction now, and I'll say it now. Nicholas Jackson will score a hat-trick against Forest.
Wow. Okay.
So if you've
You
got
heard
him
it here
in,
first.
you're climbing up.
You're you're teasing me here, Lumen, because you're planting thoughts in my head. That's the problem. Forest are a decent team, and I think actually quite unlucky to lose against Fulham this weekend. Brighton Spurs.
2 very open teams. I think Brighton bounce back and it'll be a draw.
Surely no clean sheet in there, by the way. Surely no clean sheets. You wouldn't have thought.
No, it's going to be a Diddy game. No clean sheets.
A Diddy game. Very good. Very good, Lumen. So that is game week 6 takes you to. I've got to find a way of fitting in Cole Palmer into my team and really annoy you.
I'll tell you this now. Unless you bring Haaland in, our teams are going to look very similar because look.
Yeah, I want to be similar to you. I want 100 points as well.
I made the first move. I bought Saka and Havertz in, right? But our teams, unless you go for Haaland, and you'll have to, play around with it a bit, our teams are going to look very similar.
I want to. Why can't you just break off a piece for me, Lumen? I want a bit of that Cole Palmer magic. That's what I want.
Cole Palmer's the guy. If you don't have faith in him from the start, there's no point to, if you stick to a starboy,
Well, Lumen, game week. I'll see you there for game week 7, right?
We'll be
Will you
there.
be
We'll be
there?
there.
We'll be there. We'll be there. See you.